So today, if you are wondering what's going to happen when GW takes the old Nerf bat to Star Shatter Arsenal, what the heck am I going to do? What the heck am I going to run? Then this video may be for you. Okay, so I am a competitive Necron player. Probably played 200 plus games now. This darn game, I freaking love it. And more or less, I'm just trying to take all my knowledge, package it up, and pass it on to you. So hopefully you get some value in this video today and this army list breakdown. And even if you don't play Necrons, hopefully you can apply some of these concepts and strategies to your own army and still get some good value out of this video. So today, I'm more or less going to be breaking down my army list for Awakened Dynasty and how I more or less theory craft my army list from home field and my anchor pieces to anti-tank to mission play and primary denial. So let's get into it, shall we? So starting things off with the home field and anchor piece. Now, this list is designed as more or less a full melee Awakened Dynasty list, more of like an MSU style. If you haven't heard of MSU, it just means many small units. So total, if I max it out, I can have 17 units in this army. So there's a lot to screen. There's a lot to do actions. It's very good at scoring. I think overall this list is not quite as punchy as Star Shatter Arsenal. But then again, I mean, what is? And the strength, though, is I think this is much better at primary denial. It's a much stronger primary mission army, and it's much better at scoring. And this list in particular, I personally have a lot more fun with. I feel like it's it's like my list, or my own little thing that makes sense in my head, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. And maybe if you're playing this weekend, you can use it too. Let me know what you think about it. So, home field, anchor piece. We're doing the old Hexmark Destroyer. I love the guy. All right, he's great. Reason we're running him in Awaken is the same thing, but it's even better because you put him on the home field. He lines the puck. Granted, you don't have to worry about that anymore because every 3-inch deep strike has now gone to 6 with the new update. So he's great. They can drop something in. They can kill him. But then you just spend 1 CP at the end of the phase, one of the best strats in Awakened Dynasty, and you bring back the character at the end of the phase. And a lot of times when they're dropping in, the unit does not have the ability to charge, maybe outside of like Grey Knights if they're running Drago or something like that. Or I think Demons might have a way to do it. But other than that, it's a very good tool to potentially protect your home field. And then moving on to the anchor piece. So in the early game, it's going to be the race with a Technomancer. And this has gotten a lot spicier with the update because the race went down in points. So the race in Awakened Dynasty are almost as annoying to kill as the Silent King, but just for different reasons. They're going to be able to get their damage through on the race. But the problem is you're just able to reanimate so much, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, and how the synergy of this detachment works. But more or less, you're going to have race that are moving up on your natural expansion turn 1 or potentially the center field and just locking in that primary for you. Xeris is also a great anchor piece as well in this detachment, and you're probably wondering, like, okay, you're running Xeris, but you're not running any battle line, and yes, that is the case. Main synergy with Xeris in this attachment is you can spend 1 CP as well to bring back an infantry character at the end of the phase. So this is the shooting phase and the fight phase. This would synergize with Illuminar Xeris, right? So his value comes into play is because he is a lone op and he is extremely durable for the points. I mean, having an 175-point lone op character that you can bring back for 1 CP that's a 2-up, 4-up, 4-up Feel No Pain is extremely good. And a lot of times how he functions in the list is you're moving him up on the middle objective turn 1, and he's getting lone op from like the Flayed Ones or the Lich Guard potentially, and it's just such a great synergy, and it forces your opponent to have to really commit some big resources to taking him out. And when they do that, the clap back is usually pretty painful because he is a lone op, they have to get close to him. And because there is a lot of melee in this list, they have to also respect that piece of it where, they're moving stuff forward, they kill Xeris, but then they have to respect the clapback of like Scorpex and Race coming after them, or Lichguard. So it works out pretty well, the synergy there. So that's home field anchor section. Moving on to the anti-tank. I love this package so much in Awakened Dynasty. It has worked so well in a recent GT I played with, some of the recent practice games. I was running the Silent King in Awakened Dynasty, but after the GT, I just felt like it didn't function as well as I had hoped. So leaning more into this MSU style has really felt better in a lot of ways, and I think it synergizes better also with the Locust Lord and the Locust Heavies. So the Locust Lord is going to have the Veil of Darkness, so it allows him to pick up once per game. And essentially what you're doing is you're deploying the Locust Heavy Destroyer somewhere where they can get the most firing lines, and then they're going to be able to eliminate that target from downfield because it's extremely reliable. They're hitting on 2s because they're +1 to hit and awaken. They're getting crit on 5s, and you can spend a CP to give them full rerolls if they're within half range, which is still going to be 24 inches, which is decent. So I love this unit, and 9 times out of 10, they just stay alive because of the fact that you have so much midfield board presence that they can't go after the heavy destroyers because they have other targets they need to take out. So a lot of times they just, when they poke out and kill something, a lot of times they live, and then you just Veil of Darkness them somewhere else and they kill another target. They're great. And they can screen your backfield as well in the process, so I think it's just great. The other unit that's like an anti-tank piece is the Lichguard and the Overlord combo. And we're running the Overlord specifically instead of the one with the Translocation Shroud, mainly because of the Void Scythe. So the Void Scythe is strength 12 versus I think it's the Void Blade that he can take, which is strength 8. And strength 12 is just a huge break point. It adds a little bit more punch to that unit, and especially if you pop the 1 CP strat for +1 strength, +1 AP, now all of a sudden he's getting 3 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 13, AP 4, dev wounds. Like it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice, and you can spend 1 CP to bring him back potentially. So it's a pretty good little combo there. So now moving on to the mission play and primary denial. So and this also is maybe like anti-tank as well. So we're going to start off with 3 Scorpec Destroyer units. So 3 units of 3. Of course, they all have the Plasmite tokens, so once per game they can pop for dev wounds, but they are also extremely good in this detachment. They are just a steal for 90 points. I mean, in Star Shatter and in Awaken, they are just so efficient. And they're hitting on 2s if you attach the Scorpec Lord. They have dev wounds. They would have lethals if they're attached to the Scorpec Lord. They're just such a great unit for so many things. Mission play, primary denial, damage. They're just, when positioned correctly, they're just a great all-around package. Then we're going to be running 3 Scorpec Lords. Now, I know it says enhancement, 3 bonds on there. I just copied and pasted it. So there's only one that has the bond, which is the enhancement, which gives the Scorpec Lord a 4-up Feel No Pain. So you have 2 Scorpec Lords that are regular, 3-up, 4-up, 7 wounds, T7, and then you have one that's a 3-up, 4-up, 4-up for 95 points. And you can bring him back. It's so good. It's like he's like a mini Xeris, right? So with this combo, it gives you a lot of flexibility depending on your matchup. So like, let's say, for example, you're playing against Chaos Knights, okay? Against Chaos Knights, most of those Scorpec Lords are probably going to be attached to the Scorpecs themselves because I need, when those units hit, to be able to kill a big knight. Because, like, on average, just the Scorpec Destroyer unit, they're probably going to do, like, 6 to 8 damage to one Chaos Knight. Versus you have the Scorpec Lord attached, there's a high chance that unit will, clean up the entire unit, right? But let's say, for example, I'm playing against like Blood Angels or World Eaters or Orcs, and I need more trade pieces on the table before I maybe expose my Race or my Lich Guard or something else. I would break the Scorpec Lords up into individual units, right? So they just kind of live on their own and do their own thing. Same thing with the Scorpec Destroyer. So they're going around just kind of harassing your opponent, feeding them just kind of one unit at a time to deal with because they're so durable and the fact that you can bring them back for 1 CP. It's just so good. So now all of a sudden, I mean, you're going from like a 17 unit list to a potentially a 20 or 21 unit list because of the fact that you can res these characters, right? So it's pretty cool. So moving on, we go into the Royal Warden. I'm just bringing him because with the points update, there's kind of a weird break point where it's like I had one Locust Destroyer in the list, but I brought in the Royal Warden just because I'm already running a ton of characters. So it's like if you want to bring Assassinate fixed against me, like it is what it is. But the Royal Warden offers a nice package because against good opponents, a lot of times they try to figure out a way to battle shock Xeris in the early game or one of your Scorpec Lords. And so the Royal Warden's a great little piece that can kind of hang around the Lich Guard in the center of the field or like your home field objective. And then as long as you have a character within 12 inches, you can like auto pass their battle shock test once a game, which is really good. So a lot of times, you know, your opponent will try to battle shock Xeris or a Scorpec Lord or something, so you can't use the strat to bring him back, which is really good. Or they try to, you know, Vect, which is definitely like a combo that's, you know, gives problems to Awaken for sure. But so we got the Royal Warden in there, which is good. Then we have 2 Reanimators. All right, so one Reanimator lives around the race. The other Reanimator lives around the Lich Guard. And essentially what you're doing is you're just synergizing the detachment strats of reanimating in your shooting phase and fight phase when you lose a model. And it would essentially be 2d3 plus 1 if they're led by a character each time you do that. So it gets really gross with the race because if your opponent doesn't sequence their shooting or their fighting correctly, I mean, you could potentially reanimate 6d6 plus an extra d3 on the race per battle round, which is it's really good. And especially because they have the casket, so they're -1 to hit and shooting. They're just very durable and they're very annoying to kill. And then the other Reanimator lives around the Lich Guard, and that's the same thing in my playtesting experience. If you do not kill the Lich Guard in one activation, Awaken basically has the power to bring that entire unit back to full by the start of your turn, because essentially you can pop the Res Orb, which is going to be D6 plus D3 if they're next to a Reanimator, plus 1 because the character, or excuse me, that's only for the strat. D6 plus D3 for the Res Orb, 2D3 plus 1 because of the strat, and then you're going to reanimate another 2D3 plus 2D3 on your start of your turn. So you could essentially bring all the Lich Guard back in one phase or one turn, which is really good. So then finishing off the list, more mission play, primary denial potentially, just some flayed ones and some tomb blades. So flayed ones, again, I think they should be in every list. They are an auto include. They are extremely good in the meta right now. And I think same thing with tomb blades. Tomb blades really are just functioning in this list as just an early primary denial piece in conjunction with like the Scorpec Destroyers and the Scorpec Lord. It just gives me the ability to harass my opponent in battle rounds 1 and 2. So, and that rounds out the list, and it comes out to an even 2,000 points. Doesn't it make you feel good when it's like right on the nose, 2,000 points? So, all in all, this is my Awakened Dynasty list breakdown, and I have had a ton of fun playing this list. I potentially might run this in the GT coming up at the end of January. That's the next time we'll be playing in a competitive tournament. So be looking out for that, or Star Shatter. We'll have to see. So I'm really on the fence right now, but let me know your thoughts on what you think about this list, and let me know if you want to run it, or things maybe you would change. I don't know, but yeah, this is our list. And anyways, I'm gonna put a link up to another video, the Star Shatter Arsenal list breakdown, if you want to check out that. And be looking for a deployment breakdown of this exact list as well coming up on the channel sometime soon. So appreciate y'all, and until the next one.